Mr. Clerk, if you can gather everybody in here.
Here.
So, you get it moving him up front.
Do what? I am. I got it.
Thank you, thank you. No speak.
One, 4, 5. There's 6. There's got 6.
How's everybody today?
Everybody's here.
Hello, Commissioner Atkins.
Okay, we got it. Let's roll.
Where's Stormy at?
Right behind.
Okay.
She's here.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 17, 2018 regular meeting. At this time, if our clerk will have a roll call, I appreciate it.
Dominic.
Present.
Lyndon Johnson. Jackson. Lynn.
Present.
Bowman. Cawthorn.
Present.
Watts.
Present.
Middleton. Atkins.
Here.
Chavez.
Yes, sir.
Smith. Lewis Johnson. We have a quorum, sir.
Okay, thank you. If we can all rise, we'll have Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner Matthew Lynn, if you'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today to say thank you. Thank you for the many blessings that you have laid upon us. Father, we ask that you will be with our minds and our heart as we make the decisions today on this agenda. Father, we ask that you also be with the men and women of our military service, to keep them covered as they protect us day to day, to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Father, we ask that you look after the citizens of Caddo Parish and that they will be covered in your will. These things we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, please face our flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance along with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Lynn. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Before we get started, I would like to say congratulations, if we all could, to Commissioner Matthew Lynn, who was a recent graduate in nursing. So congratulations, Matthew.
Nurse Lynn.
We appreciate your hard work and dedication to go back to school.
I
So.
have to make use of this parking spot I have out here for its highest good. And the college was directly across the street at Southern University.
Well, thank you. Okay, we're going on to our next item, agenda additions, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I have 2 items.
I know that Commissioner LB had some, do you have some
The
other?
same items.
The same items? So I think we have a couple of agenda items by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. I'll yield the floor to you at this time.
I don't
You have it?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, I got it. We have a motion to expand the agenda and add under new business the removal of James Gavin from the Caddo Parish Sewer District Number 2 Board. That motion is being made by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chavez. At this time, does anybody wish to speak in favor of adding this to the agenda? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against adding this to the agenda? Okay, at this time, please vote to add this to the agenda. Remember, it requires 100% approval since it is an addition today. That item passes. So that will be added to the agenda. The next item to add to the agenda is to expand to the agenda and add the appointment of Miss Joey Corsentino to the Caddo Parish School District Number 2. Sewer District Number 2. This item is being made by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. That motion has been made by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. Do I have a second? I will second that as the chair to add this expansion to the agenda. Is there anybody, this time it'll be open for public comment. Is anybody wish to speak in favor of adding this matter to the agenda? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against adding this to the agenda? I see no comments. Please vote on adding and expanding the agenda to include this addition. And that That fails 8-1. Is that correct? Okay.
That is correct.
All right, and then we have another,
We don't need number 3, sir.
okay, we do not need number 3?
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of number 3 also.
Okay, I have one addition to make, or I guess it's a move up. I would like to make a motion to move up item number 19, confirmation of animal services and mosquito control director, Mr. Travis Clark, if we could move that up to immediately following our special resolutions. And that's not an agenda addition, it's just I guess a move. So if we can please vote on that. This is being requested by the administration.
It was a second, sir.
Second.
I made the motion, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson seconds that motion. And that passes 10-0, and we're moving to our regular agenda items. At this time, I believe we're on citizens' comments. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card, and the comment cards are located in the chamber foyer, and you can forward it to myself or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. I do have 2 individuals who wish to speak. First one is Candy Peavy. Good to see you again, Miss Peavy. How are you doing today? If you can come up and give us your name, you don't have to give us your address, but you'll be limited to 3 minutes. So,
Okay, hi, Candy Peavy, 942 Ontario Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm very happy to be here again. Most of you probably know me as a person that has appeared before you talking about dogs and cats and animal ordinances and stuff like that. What you don't know about me is that I also served for a long time on the board of directors of Chimp Haven, and am now on the board of trustees of Chimp Haven. And I was just out there last weekend, and I had lunch with the CEO this week, a new CEO that you've probably not met yet. And there is an invitation now extended to all of you, and I think Mr. Todd Hopkins sent an email to everybody, but he hasn't gotten very many replies. But they would love to show you what's going on out there, and you would be so proud. I was amazed. I'd been a long time since it's been a couple of years. It is a world-class facility. If you've never been, you need to see it. There are around 250 chimps now, and they're in another building phase. They've just had a $10 million gift from a donor in Chicago to jumpstart their $20 million capital campaign for this next phase. As of last week, it is now the largest chimpanzee sanctuary in the world. And it's right here in our backyard. It is state of the art. It is phenomenal. It's something you can be so proud of because it's on Caddo Parish property, and this body donated that property to Chimp Haven. So I want to urge you to that target date for this tour for you guys, especially for y'all, is May the 31st. Is that right, Todd? Thursday, May the 31st, 8:30 in the morning, so you avoid the heat, and so the chimps are a little more active. But they will give you a phenomenal tour, and it's just, and Jane Goodall, you may have seen in the news. We have worked for literally 10 years to try to get her to Chimp Haven, and very hard for the last 3 years. And she finally came a few weeks ago. She loved it. She said some things on video that, such as, if I was a chimp and I couldn't live in the wild, I would want to live at Chimp Haven. And that says volumes for that facility. So what I also wanted to talk about today was the fact that I did serve on the committee with Dr. Wilson and a number of other people in administration who interviewed the applicants for the director of the animal services. There were a handful of us who served on that committee. It was a wonderful process. It was very fair. There were a lot of applicants. We listened to probably 7 interviews, I believe. And we feel like we made the best choice for our shelter. Obviously, we've got a lot of problems that are still going on out there that still need to be addressed. We're all aware of that. It's going to be a big job for this next director, and we're aware of that, but we all need to get citizens and commissioners and administration, we all need to get behind this man and support him and give him the opportunity to do the job that needs to be done out there to turn this thing around. Because with Chimp Haven, with Erica Fallbaum's pet education project that's now national, if not international, in educating children, and she's located here, she was on the interview committee. Those two programs and the shelter can be turned around. This city could be known for animals and what the good things that we're doing for animals. And I thank you guys for what you're doing on your end. I urge you to get together and support this choice that we've got for the director and everybody in the community to support him and give him a chance to do his job. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy, and I would just, again, if we don't get to talk much, just appreciate your service, and obviously appreciate your service on the, I guess, the search committee. That's what I'm going to call it. So I knew you were on the committee, and Dr. Wilson advised me of that, so thank you.
Thanks.
Dan Keel. Dan, I owe you apologies. I've just been booked. You and I need to talk about the road
We
issue
need to
that
talk
you
about
called
2 or
about.
3 things in North Caddo Parish, but I know we'll get to them, and they're not a pressing matter. I
appreciate you being here, and again,
Same
I
here.
appreciate you also serving on the search committee. So,
Well, I wanted to echo what Candy said, and I've been critical, and Dr. Wilson knows, I've been critical in committee meetings. I understand to some extent the problems that we have out there. I've dealt with various commissioners trying to answer your questions. I completely concur, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the process. I've been sworn to secrecy until I saw it was actually on the agenda, who the nominee is. And that's the hardest thing for me to do because I'm kind of excited about this. We had the 7 interview people. We had one candidate, when I saw it, I went, oh my gosh, this is world class. This person is going to come in and just, this is the nominee. The person didn't appear for his interview. Don't know why. But we went through the process, and we went 3-2-1. It actually turned out chronologically. What the third runner-up, or the second runner, the third place position was excellent candidate. Had all kinds of skills that could be brought to bear with problems that we have out there. The second person that came in was well prepared, well versed, had basically a dossier prepared, and was very impressive. And I said, this person blew my socks off. And I said, I think we're about to make history because those 2 people were both females. The third person came in who was ranked number 1 almost unanimously. And I went, whoa, where are my socks? They're not even in the room. We had a young man who worked here, who I dealt with as an ACO in law enforcement in North Caddo Parish and some incidents in Shreveport, who basically was working in the previous regime. I had some hesitation because of that, because he was under Everett and under Chuck. And people in the community that I speak to had concerns about that. We had other concerns people were coming to me with. We tried to represent people as best we could in this committee, and every one of my concerns this young man handled and answered. He came out with a list of things that we needed to be done that I've been harping on and barking about and screaming about that I think can immediately cause problems. I then learned that Dr. Wilson had held him to task even further than what we got in the interview and wanted some written confirmation of the things that he wanted to do, a short-term plan and a long-term plan. I don't know what he's briefed y'all on, but I can tell you if we haven't done the best thing that we could do, I don't know what else we could do. The second position, I suggested maybe you ought to hire in another position someplace in government. These people were good. The top 3 people were outstanding. And Travis Clark was clearly head and heels above the rest. So I want to put my personal endorsement on it. I'll take the heat. There's a lot of things he's going to be tough to do as an insider who's gone away and come back, but that was his mission, that was his goal, and that's what he told us. I may be speaking a little bit out of school, but I think that with the support of the commission, with the support of administration, that we're going to finally, once and for all, I'm excited that we're going to cure these problems at CPAS, mosquito control.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I have no other comment cards. Do you have anything else, Mr. Hopkins?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, we'll move on to our next item.
Okay, we have no visitors. We move to special resolution, sir.
Okay.
Resolution recognizing Herndon Magnet Middle School high steppers.
Okay, if we can all rise, and I'll ask the Herndon High Steppers to come up along with their director, please. Whetstone.
This is our captain, Cornwall.
How you doing?
Good.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
Lola.
Who's your mom and dad?
Kelly Cornwall.
Okay, I got you. Okay, we'll let Todd Hopkins, our clerk's going to read the resolution at this time.
In the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, resolution of recognition to Herndon Magnet School High Steppers. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission desires to give appropriate recognition to those young ladies of Caddo Parish who by their extraordinary achievements have distinguished themselves in ways that reflect favorably and positively upon this parish. And whereas the Herndon Magnet School High Steppers participated in the North American Dance Drill National International Dance Team Competition at the University of North Texas in Denton, Texas on March 24th, 2018. And whereas the High Steppers did not just participate, but won national event titles in palm kick, hip hop, and military. Second runner-up in jazz, first runner-up in academics, and multiple awards in the international section where they competed with high school and international students. With their top performances in palm kick, hip hop, and military, the High Steppers went on to claim the overall middle school division team category to become the 2018 Middle School National Champions, securing their place as a two-time national champion in dance. And whereas, as in 2016, under the steady leadership of Director Kim Whetstone, the team relied upon their experience and confidence to dominate the event. The High Steppers epitomize the definition of team, having members with complementary skills that generate synergy through a coordinated effort which allows each member to maximize their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission in legal and regular session convened that it does hereby heartily commend and congratulate the Herndon Magnet School High Steppers for their success and for the pride and honor they have brought to their school, their families, their community, and their parish. Be it further resolved that this commission does wish these young ladies much continued success and that they will continue to dream, to aspire, to strive, to achieve, and to excel as they face the challenges and opportunities their lives will present. Signed, Douglas Dominic, President. Lynn Cawthorn, Vice President.
We're going to go up there and take a picture in just a second. But we need to talk. Yeah, we just need to talk. I'd just like to say thank y'all for your hard work and your dedication. I know y'all work hard and can continue to do great things in Herndon and for North Caddo Parish. And Lana, are you gonna speak? I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. On behalf of the girls and I, we would like to thank the commission for this recognition. It means a lot to the girls. No one knows how hard these girls work. They work more hours than any middle school and more hours than most high schools. This did not come easily. I want to recognize and thank all of the parents out here. I've said it before, without parents, there would be no middle school dance. Middle school dance relies on moms and dads and transportation and support, and they're our biggest cheerleaders, and we thank all of you.
Ms. Carlisle,
I just wanted to say thank you to my team for working so hard, and thank you to the commission for recognizing our hard work.
it's a great honor to you girls for everything y'all do, and I know y'all put a lot of hard work and time into it, and thank y'all so much. And great job, Lana. That's my daughter.
You broke that.
Y'all can come up front and take a pic if you want to.
In as much as you can, ladies, and they'll be able to. You might want, yeah, some of those.
There you go.
There you go.
They're up front, young man. Come on up front.
1, 2, 3.
Hang on, there's other people.
You could at least stand by your dog.
Your other side looks better, Doug.
That's a fine.
Trying to look twice as small.
Don't I have the authority to find people up here?
We can make it up on the spot.
Presidential privilege.
Okay.
Hey Doug, which one's your wife's daughter?
Tall one.
You want to get all the parents up there?
They're all really smiling. It was the last day of school.
You gotta look for some.
That's what I say. Which one's your wife's daughter?
And can I get one just with Ms. Luke?
Okay, then this ain't no photo shoot.
Congratulations,
You
ladies.
gotta get one with your wife up there with you.
Kelly, you want to come up?
You gotta get your wife up there.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Senator Chair. So, the motion has been made by Commissioner Dominic.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Mike Middleton. It will be accepted by acclamation, and I will be headed up. Thank y'all again for coming. Congratulations. So y'all can stay and watch the great government, or you can.
Or not.
Everybody else, your last day at school, correct?
Kelly.
And they're gone.
Hey Doug. Doug, you got.
Just say congratulations, ladies. I couldn't let all these ladies come down here and don't say anything, but Doug didn't get back in time. It's okay. Let him go.
I looked up there and see names. Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all for coming once again, and we'll move on. But I do have one quick public comment that we're going to allow. Miss Odom, is that Odom? Michelle Odom, is that right?
Yes.
She wants to make a comment real quick concerning the issue of the Miss USA support. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm so good. Thank you all
Nice
for
to see
letting
you.
us break in. This is Bo Wellborn. He's going to invite you to something. We wanted to say publicly right now, already this week, thank you for all that you did to bring this to pass here in Shreveport. Stormy has a little box with some treasures for you all, because certainly we want you to support our hometown girl. But what you did is for 101 other girls from across the nation, bringing them to the South. Do you know some of them have never been to the South? Forget just Louisiana. And the crossing of cultures. Unity is what is so beautiful about this commission, and unity is what this pageant is all about. So I brought Bill Welburn. He's a pageant guy. He wants to say thank you. He's from Shreveport, and he has a party that he wants to invite you to Saturday night.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be back in my hometown. I grew up here in Shreveport, Louisiana. In fact, I went to Herndon Magnet, so I was really excited to see that the tradition carries. In 1998, when I started volunteering for the Miss Universe organization, I didn't realize that it would be a love affair for 20 plus years. So this year, when you guys were instrumental in bringing Shreveport, Louisiana back to the forefront and bringing this pageant back for not only Miss USA and Miss Teen USA, I knew that I wanted to do something for the fans, the family, and the friends of the pageant from all over the country to sit Shreveport. So this Saturday at the Crew of Gemini Museum, we are hosting a welcome party that is open to the public. We are going to have between 300 and 400 people all over the country here. The King and Queen of Gemini will be there. We will have a live band, music, and we want to extend the Shreveport hospitality that these contestants have felt this week. I know a lot of them, and it has been a unanimous consent that Shreveport Bossier has bent over backwards to create the hospitality that they never knew existed. And the goal is, after Saturday, we want to extend that to their family and their friends who aren't a part of the Miss Universe organization. They don't get to see what we get to see on the back end. And also allow them to come back, because they will want to come back and bring their friends and families the next time they come, because we hope that Miss Universe brings it back next year. So again, it's Saturday at the Crew of Gemini Museum in Bossier City, and I would love to see you guys there. Thank you so much.
What time is it?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
We will actually have a special presentation 8 o'clock. And if you come, we would love to offer the extension for you guys to welcome these guests yourself. We'll have a special presentation for all the teens who have competed the night before. And there are going to be former Miss USAs, Miss Teen USAs, and pageant insiders from all over the country. So it would be a great opportunity to bring in Shreveport and Bossier. So
You have the invitation,
Yeah.
so they'll circulate it to everyone. Did you have any comments?
I was gonna let Stormy, she's before me on the
Yeah.
board.
Oh, I was on for something else.
Michelle, you're just as beautiful as your daughter, Miss Louisiana, so thanks for coming down.
did you pay him?
And
So she has
with
a
dinner,
box
she paid me with dinner.
Oh, and before we leave, I just want to say, go Lauren Vizza. She is our hometown girl, and she's going to make us proud, and she's going to be the next Miss USA. Let me just say that on record. Bye, guys.
Thank y'all for coming.
Wait, you got, Mike.
Okay, this is really public comment. You can-
Mine's real simple. Michelle lives in District 8. Thank you, appreciate you. Good luck, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our next item.
Next, we have the
I'm sorry?
confirmation of the
Okay, yes.
Director of Animal.
So move for confirmation.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Matthew Lynn to confirm the appointment of Mr. Travis Clark as the Caddo Parish Animal Service and Mosquito Control Director. We'll open it up for discussion. I do want to I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Wilson talk first, if that's okay. Dr. Wilson, I'll turn it over to you since this is your recommendation.
Yes, sir. You all received my letter on Monday, which outlined his qualifications. Mr. Clark has extended himself quite well. Matter of fact, a few years ago when he was here, I had a distinct pleasure to go to his graduation ceremony from the Sheriff's Academy. And certainly he won several distinguished awards at that particular event. He's post-certified, and he has went away and came back impressively qualified for this position. Magna cum laude in his class with his degree, and he certainly have a plethora of experience that will help us move things forward. So I'm well pleased with his nomination today, and I think he would help us to continue the transformation we have begun at the CPCRS. There's a lot of work to be done, and I'm equally impressed by his ability to come in and help with that. Also, pledging my full support and staff and prayerfully the community to support him, like Ms. Peeves said, to help him be successful, because at hand, what he has to take on is a community-wide issue. So anyway, nevertheless, we are going to do the best we can because we're not going to settle for anything less. Okay, so thank you all for unanimously confirming him today in your vote, and I appreciate it. And I have some remarks for the folks that helped with the selection process.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Bowman?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to briefly say thank you to Dr. Wilson and also to the Citizens Advisory Board. You all helped to make a great decision. He's, I think, the great piece in addition to our services and leadership. I mean, he was also here, then he left and came back. He's got, a wealth of knowledge, and he actually cares about what we're trying to do at the parish and even animals themselves. So that's a win-win. So I just want to say congratulations and thank all the citizens who sat and rigorously went through the process, because let me tell you, those are some tough persons that went through that process for you and others who applied. And so we did what the citizens wanted, and we allowed them to choose, and so they could have made a better choice, and so congratulations. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Just want to make a few comments. First of all, I hope we don't get into asking our new director, hopefully, any questions or what's going to happen, but I would say a couple things. I would commend Dr. Wilson. In our charter, he has the ability to make this recommendation. It is his call. He could have went and got anybody he wanted to and brought them up here without seeking outside support, but he had the wherewithal and the understanding to know that this is an extremely important position for our community, and brought together a group of Citizens Advisory Committee to look at the applicants, as we each and every one know, and stood by their recommendation. So it's just not Dr. Wilson's recommendation, it's a Citizens Advisory Committee, which Dr. Wilson and I have spoken over the last few months since this has been going on, and he's kept me advised on their search and their processes. The team that he came together and recommended, and I think they've done a great job, so appreciate you for doing that, first of all. Second of all, from everything I've seen and heard, it appears that Mr. Clark is the person for the job, and I will be full-heartedly supporting your recommendation today. Hopefully we can all come together as one commission body to approve that recommendation and move forward, because we know that there are some challenges and issues at the Caddo Parish Animal Services, and we look forward to working with you. Crystal, will you be taking any pictures with Dr. Wilson and maybe the new director and myself, so we can get that out on social media too, if we can do that either, right after the meeting possibly. So moving on to Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President Dominic. I motion to move this to Animal Services Committee. If I can get a second, I'll explain why.
I'll give you a second.
All right, thank you. Reason I make this motion is because I personally have not been able to vet, not that you're not a great candidate. I would like to have seen this gone to the Animal Services Committee so that we could have taken the time to get the reviews and the results from every single person that was on that Citizens Committee board. Personally, I was in the military for 12 years. I know, Dr. Wilson, you were as well. In the military, you never take a soldier from in the ranks to then command the ranks just because of the dynamics of the leadership, and I worry about that. And I know a lot of citizens have reached out to me with those same concerns. I had more than 3 people call me.
I have a point of order.
I'm not done yet, sir.
You are right now, okay? I got a point of order. I've got a question on our charter. Can we even do this, because this is a recommendation, and we either vote up or we vote down?
That's correct.
Am I correct, Donna?
Yes, you are.
Okay, we do not have the authority to send this to Caddo Parish Animal Committee.
That's correct.
If you don't want the guy, vote him no. If you would like to recommend and approve Dr. Wilson's approval, then I would ask that you support this approval. We brought this up Monday. If you had any issues, you should have spoken to Dr. Wilson beforehand. We need to support this 100%, in my opinion, right now. We need to come together. We're hearing people that were on the committee.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I think you were cutting him off. He was out of order.
I made a point of order.
Right. Well,
So we're going to go forward.
Okay. Appreciate
Thank you, Stephen. All right. So I'll move to the next person on the agenda. That is Commissioner.
You're saying the motion on the floor?
You can't make that motion. It's out of order. Donna has said that.
No, it's not a committee issue.
You're saying I can't make a motion from the floor?
To move it to committee, no, that is improper.
Then I'm gonna finish my time. If
Okay,
that's all right
you
with
can
you.
finish your time.
Okay. I appreciate everybody on the Citizens Committee that have taken the time to do this, because it's pointless, for our opinion. I'm not gonna sit up here and vote yes, and in 6 months, when the sky's falling and it was my fault that I agreed to choose a man to run the CPAWS, if it does turn out bad, I wasn't able to vet this gentleman, so I'm going to be voting no on this. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lynn?
The way the charter reads is that Dr. Wilson has the authority to choose one person independently. The committee that chose Mr. Clark was 4 citizens that have been highly critical of Caddo Parish Animal Services, and I would have to say these 4 citizens were spot on their criticism, and it wasn't made up criticism, it was actual criticism about Caddo Parish Animal Services that was accurate. Those 4 citizens, they were balanced with 3 people from administration, and so those 4 citizens could have easily outvoted the 3 people from administration to bring someone forward. And this was a process that Dr. Wilson elected to do. He didn't have to do that, but he recognized that transparency was going to be of the highest order in choosing who was going to be the head of animal services. To offer an alternative point of view to rising someone up from the ranks, I'm gonna give you an analogy, and if Mr. Clark later tells me to not do this privately, I won't ever do it again. But have any of you ever seen the movie Brubaker? Brubaker was a movie about a man that allegedly got arrested. He went into prison undercover, planted by the FBI. He worked lower in the ranks and lower in the, he was there as a prisoner. And so the FBI came in, pulled him out, and lo and behold, he ended up being the warden of the prison. Well, I personally view Travis Clark's ability to be someone who was there. He was, my understanding, and this is not from him, this is all word of mouth that has gotten to me, he was dissatisfied with the service that Caddo Parish Animal Services offered, and he did the respectable thing because he was not in charge to disassociate himself from Caddo Parish Animal Services because he was not in charge, and quit. And that's what you do. If you don't like what your boss is telling you to do, if you don't like what your boss's boss is telling your boss to do, and you quit. And I admire him for, instead of playing follow the leader to a bad tune, he disassociated himself from Caddo Parish Animal Services. He left. The opportunity came for him to return to his community, and he threw his hat in the ring. He was chosen by 4 people that were highly critical of Caddo Parish. He was not chosen by Dr. Wilson. No, I think Dr. Wilson did vote for him, but it wasn't a pick this person because he was part of the problem. It was 4 individual citizens. Pick this person because he has already seen the problems firsthand, and I believe he has the ability to correct them. I mean, the fact that for the last 5 years, we have been trying to get the employees trained on how to use PassPoint at the shelter, PetPoint, and they still, a lot of them don't know how to do it. And so we need to put these people in a position where they can be successful. And if they're not going to be successful at the animal shelter, either Caddo Parish needs to find them a location within Caddo Parish to be successful, or we need to release them from their obligation of being failures within that department. And I think that it would take a person who worked in that department to know every single ability that each person has. And so I honestly believe that Mr. Travis Clark is by far, at least it has the ability to at least by far be the best pick that we could have ever chosen. And I'm going to commit 100% of my faith in him, in not Dr. Wilson's selection, but in the 4 citizens' selection of this gentleman to run Caddo Parish Animal Services. This is a community-wide issue, and the magnifying glass and the spotlight is on us now. And if he succeeds, we all look good. And if he doesn't succeed, then the walls are going to come tumbling down. And you have seen me in the past picketing with supporters of good welfare for Caddo Parish Animal Services, picketing on the steps. And he's either going to do a great job and we're going to prop him up and give him everything that he needs so that he is not running into a blazing fire with nothing but his skivvies. We've got to give him equipment and tools and protection and everything that he needs to be successful. Give him what he needs to be successful. If he's successful, we all win. And if he's not successful, in 6 months, we'll raise hell and snatch him out of there.
Yeah, but we all lose
That's it.
too. If we up with them, we're going to be up with them. We down with them,
Yep.
we down
Okay.
with them.
Yep. Thank you. That's it, Mr. President.
You done?
I'm done.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to commend Dr. Wilson for including the public to do this election. By our charter and bylaws, didn't have to do that. Basically, could have been a decision amongst him and some of the key staff. And he went out and knew the importance of this election as the department head of it would be criticized by many, so include the public in that. We didn't ask him to do that. He did that on his own. And now here today, say we'll send it to committee. And I can remember back when we had the discussion dealing with the Confederate monument, you know, it was like, well, the public, the body that we put together for them to decide what we need to do, this is what they came up with. This is what we need to go with. And here today, you had another public group that says, well, this is the individual that we need to go with. And now it's like, well, you want to second guess them, but you didn't want to second guess the Confederate Monument Group. I get confused on some things of what we do. But at the same time, this person has been interviewed by not only the staff, but also by the public. And this was their choice. And their choice was this guy here, and Mr. Clark. And so, you know, I want to give him a chance. I mean, you're already telling this man that, well, you know, even though you went through this panel, we might still have some questions for you. So you're already giving him second thoughts. If I was sitting in his seat, I'd be like, wow, do I really want to work for this group?
Absolutely.
You know, give him a chance. He's already been vetted through a body of citizens of Caddo Parish along with our administration. Give him a chance. I don't care who you put in that spot, you're not going to satisfy 100% of Caddo Parish citizens. You're not going to do it. I sit here and I get frustrated because from the tone of some of the conversations we have, we put animals above humans. And I get very frustrated about that because some of y'all sit here and do that. We shouldn't do that. Humans are the top of the pyramid and animals come after that. We won't even discuss 5 or 10 minutes about homeless people, but at the same time, we'll spend 2-3 hours talking about animals. We shouldn't do that. We're not elected by animals, we're elected by humans. Thank you.
Great comment, Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. I've already spoken, and I think Commissioner Chavez has spoken, so we're going to Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Call for the question.
Second.
Let's vote.
That's the best motion you've ever made, I believe.
Add it to my list.
Please vote for calling for the question. End the debate. Mr. Bowman?
I press it. Did I press it?
Press it, yeah.
We'll try it again.
Pass.
Okay, that passes 10-2, and at this time we'll vote for the motion on the floor, which is the confirmation of the appointment of Mr. Travis Clark as the Caddo Parish Animal Service and Mosquito Control Director. And Dr. Wilson, if this passes, will this take effect immediately, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please vote for the confirmation. I would like to announce that passes 12-0 unanimously. I would thank each of our commissioners for coming together and showing their unanimous support on this issue. Thank you very much. Dr. Wilson, you have something?
Yes, sir, I do. I personally like to thank the following individuals who served on the selection panel. Dr. Andrea Everson, Ms. Erica Folbaum, Dan Keel, who's here today. Dan, would you stand, please?
Thank you, Dan.
Ms. Cynthia Keith from the Admiral Alliance. Ms. Candy Peavy. Zerica Bryan, she had to go to a port meeting. Henry Bernstein in the back. Randy Lucky. And Dr. Wilson. Commissioner Lynn, thank you for your observation. There were 5 civilians, sir, from the community.
Thank you.
And 4 staff members. And they all had a vote, and they asked questions too. We gave them all the applicants, they took them home and looked them over and all that stuff, so it was very transparent. And I'm well pleased, and I do sincerely appreciate the supporters are here. Thank you all for your support. I got a lot of emails too. I didn't bringing up to you all that we're very favorable for this recommendation. And certainly, I thank them for their support as well. So I think we've done a good thing here today, putting the right person in the driver's seat. And I think we ought to get behind him and help him be successful because, as I said earlier, it's a community-wide issue we're dealing with. And instead of throwing rocks or anchors, let's deal with teaching them how to float and swim. All right, so thank you all so much, committee members. I appreciate it. Thank you, supporters. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to moving forward and continuing the transformation. And Mr. Clark has provided me a strategic plan on what he would do to make changes out there already. We're meeting tomorrow to discuss those, so we are hitting the ground running. All right. So thank you all, commissioners, for your support today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Commissioner Chavez.
I asked the chair for a point of privilege. I know I said I was going to vote no, but this is true democracy. Commissioner Lynn, I appreciate what you had to say. And after hearing that and getting a couple texts saying, no, we want him to be the director, I don't want you leaving here thinking that 1/12 of the body was against you. And I wanted you to know the whole commission had 100% of your support going forward and that we believe in you. So I wanted you to know that. And that's why I went ahead and voted yes for you. So thanks, guys, for the democracy.
That's why we love you, Mario.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
I'm out over there.
Sure.
I just wanted to, I didn't even get in the queue. I didn't know the debate would get as far-fetched, but I do want to thank Kelvin.
Oh, yeah, I want to do that too. Yeah.
For his time of his interim. This process started. This process started back last year, October of last year when we got the call, and so Kelvin has been spot on. So hopefully y'all will work together and look forward to seeing good things to come out of animal service.
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure, Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, Commissioner Jackson, thank you, sir, for the bringing that to my attention. I didn't want to overlook a young man that's done a valiant job running the center from October to present time. He's taken a lot of controversial issues for us. Working short-handed, he's done a yeoman's job. And Kevin, thank you so much. My sincere appreciation for your hard work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson, and I again say thank you, Kelvin, for your time and effort, and look forward to you being there. Just again wanted to thank the committee for all y'all's hard work. It really means a lot to us. Thank y'all for your time and effort. So at this time, Mr. Clerk, we'll move on to our next item.
Adopt the regular session minutes from May 3rd.
I move.
Okay. I'm sorry, we're getting out of what now?
Well, we made the confirmation. I mean, we didn't actually need to have a word to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Travis,
Linda.
you want to come on up, sir?
Yes, sir. Just want to say thank you guys for entrusting me with this position. When I left Caddo Parish Animal Services, it was solely for this intention. Okay, I wanted to learn proper sheltering and things of that sort so I could bring it back to this community when I got the opportunity. And during the interview process, I wholeheartedly said during my interview that I wish you guys select the best candidate, even if it's not me, because this community deserves better care for the animals. And if it was not me, then fine. I would still come home regardless, because I didn't want to leave my mom, my family, my friends to go to California, but I had to because I felt that was the only way I would learn proper sheltering techniques to bring it back to this community and help the animals and help the enforcement aspect. You have the public safety, you have the animal welfare. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. So that's what I went to learn. Thank you for the opportunity, and I will not let you down.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I tell you one thing, Commissioner Bowman's behind you. Okay, now Todd will move back to our regular agenda at this time.
Adopt the regular session minutes from May 3rd.
So
Move to
moved.
approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Matthew Lynn to adopt the regular session minutes of May 3rd. Please vote. And that passes 12-0. Moving to our next item, sir.
Adopt the special session minutes from April 30th, 2018.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn to adopt the special minutes of April 30th, 2018. Please vote.
Speak up, John.
And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Communications committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
Okay, is there any commissioners that has communication committee reports at this time?
And this is based upon which one we said, like public comments? Or?
Yeah, regarding any public comments or other issues that have come before the parish at this time.
And what's the second one
Is any communication committee reports? You want to go now?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the representative that represents the MLK area, want to say a couple things that I have done that starts back in 2015. In 2015, we were hit with a flood, and also in 2016, we was hit in a flood. In 2015, we established, under the leadership of me as being the chairman of this ad hoc committee, the Emergency Disaster Fund. This fund was used to basically help the people who ended up getting flooded out, and we found out FEMA was going to be slow in acting on funds, and it was a big gap between the homeowners and the federal government. In 2016, we was hit again with another flood, and so we utilized that money again in 2016 to help those individuals that was impacted by the flood. There was also a tornado that came through Blanchard that we was able to help and assist those individuals as well. But that was done with the creation of the Emergency Disaster Fund. In 2015, I also realized that there was an increase in crime that was going on. So there was a meeting set up with not only myself, but the mayor, the chief of police, the sheriff, the city marshal, and some more individuals. And based on that, came up with a plan, but I saw that plan really didn't go as far as I really wanted it to go. So in 2016, and that would be May 27, 2016, I sent each commissioner a idea that I had. It's called Workable Plan. This was also sent out to the media as well. It had 6 different points to it. One of the points was to create safe zone for kids, and over time, the commission has done that. The other one was to create Caddo Parish summertime block engagement, which kind of piggyback off of the National Night Out. But I wanted this to happen more frequently than the National Night Out. Get to know your neighbors, because in crime prevention, you can't rely upon law enforcement to cover everything, because they just can't do it. But if the neighbors are engaged and know who stays beside them, and we take each neighborhood block by block, street by street, you engage your neighbors, you know who they are, then that can help deter crime. Also proposed optional eyes and ears, which we talked about a little bit Monday, which was shot spotting, which I brought up again in a governmental meeting because I thought it was a pretty good idea to do. It's costly, but it's something that could also save lives. Also proposed a text messaging for tips, because what I also found out too is a lot of people don't want to be identified if they call in about something that happens. So if you go to our Caddo Parish Sheriff's app, there is a way to do the texting tip. You can leave your tip and they won't know who it actually came from. Then there's a program called People Against Senseless Shooting. And we kind of incorporated that in a sense by doing the gun buyback program that we started last year. The last one is domestic violence campaign. We have organizations that do that, but we still need to do more marketing, more campaigning on that. And that was my workable plan on how we can actually deter some of the crime that's happening. So for individuals to say that this lip service and not doing anything, I put together a plan. I put together goals, and if I need to email that back out to each and every one of the commissioners and also to the media, I will, and show you what I said, the breakdown of the particular program and the goals that will be accomplished by each one of them. Also, and I think my second year down here, I noticed that the parish didn't have some employment program, but the city actually had a big one at the time. And so I got with administration, I got with other commissioners, and I said, hey, we need to do something on our end because the city is having so many summer students, but they can't employ everybody. So at this point in time, I want to say, hey, let's do this on our end as well. And so we started that program, and it's expanded somewhat, but we don't have enough resources on our side to go to a large number as the city did. You know, we want to make sure that all the students that do work for us during the summertime have a meaningful program and a job that they can come and do and not just be sitting around twiddling their thumbs. So I just want to make sure that it's on record that it's not just lip service that's coming from the representative of MLK, that there's actually some workable plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lindy Johnson. And now we'll move on to our next item. Todd?
Okay, next we move to, do we have any administration response?
No, not today.
Okay, we move to President's Report.
I have none at this time. We move on.
Move to public hearing on ordinances, ordinance number 5772 of 2018, to set the general purpose millages and special purpose millages, and to instruct the tax assessor to include said millages on the tax roll of the Parish of Caddo for the year 2018.
Do I declare the public hearing open with regards to ordinance number 5772? Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5772? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5772? I see no public comment. The public hearing is closed. We'll move to our next item, Mr.
I have
Clerk.
a question.
Don't have any questions, public hearing.
I just got a question, some clarification that I need.
You can,
Can
we can ask those during.
I'm asking for basically a point of clarification is what I'm asking.
Okay.
Are we can we do these public hearings since they're all the same? Can we do it just one big public hearing?
No,
or do we have to do individually public
We
hearings?
do each one, and they're all part of the public hearing, but he just closes from one and we move to the next.
Okay.
Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. Moving on to our next item.
Ordinance number 5773 of 2018, setting the parish millage for the purpose of paying principal and interest due in 2017 and outstanding parish bond issues, and to instruct the assessor to include said millage on tax roll of Parish of Caddo for the year 2018.
I declare the public hearing open with regards to ordinance number 5773. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5773? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5773? Declare this public hearing closed. Moving to the next item.
Ordinance number 5774, to adopt the values fixed or to be fixed by the Louisiana Tax Commission on all assessments for railways and other public service corporations, and to instruct the assessor to extend such assessments and values on the tax roll of the Parish of Caddo for year 2018.
I declare the public hearing open with regards to ordinance number 5774. Is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5774? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5774? Declare the public hearing closed on ordinance number 5774. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5775, setting the assessment of property classified as timberlands, and instruct the assessor to include said assessment on tax roll of Parish of Caddo for the year 2018.
Declare the public hearing open with regards to ordinance number 5775. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5775? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5775? I declare the public hearing closed on ordinance number 5775. Moving to our next item, Mr. Clerk.
Ordinance number 5776, amending the 2017 budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the detention facility fund to increase the appropriation for prisoner medical care by $550,000.
Declare the public hearing open with regards to ordinance number 5776. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance number 5776? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against ordinance number 5776? Declare the public hearing regarding ordinance number 5776 closed at this time. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5777, an ordinance to authorize the purchase of property located at 1356 Lawhon Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, for use as a portion of the Caddo Community Action Agency property.
Declare the public hearing on ordinance number 5777 open at this time. Is anybody wish to speak in favor of ordinance number 5777? Does anybody wish to speak against ordinance number 5777? I see no one, and I declare that public hearing closed. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5772 for final passage to set the general purpose millages.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt in global and adopt ordinance number 5772, ordinance number 5773, ordinance number 5774, ordinance number 5775, and that's it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and adopt those ordinances.
Second.
5772, 5773, 5774, 5775. That was made by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. It has been seconded by Lyndon Johnson. These all seem to be in together with regard to one issue regarding the millage assessments. These are the annual millage assessment rates that we have to approve each and every year according to Louisiana law, so we can send the proper notification notices to the tax assessor, so we actually get our millages on the books. Commissioner Jackson, you don't want to speak on your motion. Commissioner Lynn, you on the board?
Mrs. Barnett, are any of these rolled forward, or are all of these rolled back?
They're all rolled back.
So every single one of these is rolled back?
All of them with the debt, the debt one is the same.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Jackson?
Can we speak in layman term when you say roll back? What do we mean?
That just means we set the millage to, because the property tax assessment increased, we set the millage to where we receive the same amount of revenue.
So in theory, for just a plain person like me, we basically lowered the assessment?
Yes.
Yes.
So we lowered
Not the assessment, the millage.
the millage.
Yes,
We
sir.
lowered the millage.
Yes,
Okay. I just want to be clear. And we have done this how many times?
16 years. in a
For
row.
16 years, we have lowered the millage in Caddo
Right.
Parish. Okay, so on the record and clear. Thank you all.
Haley,
Thank you for clarifying.
so the millage has been rolled back, correct?
That's
Well,
the low amount.
every 4 years we can roll back.
Right, well, you're saying rolling, you said something about rollback. I thought it was just neutral, everything's gonna stay the same.
Well, they get rolled back every 4 years.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But you just said we're rolling this back right now.
Well, no.
We're not rolling it back right now because our,
We're not increasing.
hang on one second. I got, Commissioner Jackson, hang on one second. So, can you please explain this to me again? I want it to be right for the public. I know we have not increased any taxes. I know hang on. I know we have rolled back every 4 years. So, are we rolling anything back today?
No.
Okay, so what are we
We're not
doing?
rolling anything forward, we're just adopting the millages. The last time the millages were set, they were rolled back.
Last time they were set, they were rolled back,
These
so,
are just setting the same millages over.
okay,
The point
so
he was trying to make
basically,
is that we're not increasing anyone's taxes.
okay,
and
it's
that's the point.
revenue neutral for everyone. I mean, it's the same as it was last year.
Yes. Yes.
I just, I know obviously we're not increasing, but we're not decreasing anything. It's just we're setting the millages that we set several years ago, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Point of information, Mr. President, so just this year, each year we do this, I have to send a certificate to to Baton Rouge that says we are not rolling forward.
Okay.
And that's the way it's
Because you
done.
can roll forward if you wanted to.
Okay.
but we're not. And so that was kind of, I think it's just a play on words, but we're leaving our millages the same. We are
And that's what I'm getting. Everything is the same. They're leaving the
Yes, but
same.
we could roll forward if we chose to. And
I understand.
We chose not to roll forward.
I understand. Okay. Please vote at this time.
I'm back up there. Hopefully, Crystal Grinley could put this on the front page. I mean, because the fact that we have recognized taxes from 16 years ago and have not increased taxes, but because of our credit rating, decreased taxes every single year, that's front page news. Anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Dr. Wilson, if you can see if I can get with Crystal to maybe make a public statement or something to the fact that we set our millages, there was no roll forward,
Yes, sir.
get the language right, and hopefully where the layman can understand. Okay. Please vote at this time. That's confusing. Okay, that passes 12-0. Moving to our next item.
Ordinance number 5776, amending the 2017 budget, estimate revenues and expenditures for the detention facilities. Fund the appropriations for prisoner medical care by $550,000. Increase.
That's been moved by the chair.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. I have a couple of commissioners that wish to speak. Since I made the motion, I will speak. We've talked about this a couple of times. It's been brought to our attention that there were some catastrophic illnesses at the Caddo Parish Correctional Center, that we are obligated to fund those medical issues, medical procedures at the Caddo Correctional Center. At our workshop 2 weeks ago, we had a lot of discussion concerning, Medicaid, why can't we get that, et cetera. We have pretty much exhausted those discussions. Hopefully, we can move forward with trying to task our federal representatives to allow that in the future. But today, for today's purposes, this is an obligation that we have to do. And I would ask for each and every one to support this ordinance. It's something that we are obligated to do, we have to do, and we need to do. Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
We have to do it, and it's a waste of money also. These people that are pre-trial detainees, if we could process them through the court system faster, they would not be pre-trial detainees, and they would be applicable for Medicaid and Medicare. And so when people are not arrested, they can get benefits, but as soon as they become the possession of the parish, we're obligated to pay these medical fees, and there is no Medicare and Medicaid. However, as soon as we can either release these people because they're really sick and possibly not that much of a threat to society, or put them in front of a judge and have them sentenced and get them out of the pre-trial detainee mode, we don't have to pay this money. And so it would be great if all the citizens listening would call everybody they know, including all of us and all the judges, and see what we can do to move these really sick people on a fast track out of here, so we don't have to spend. This is just how much we're adding to medical care. This isn't, what is the total budget?
Over $3 million for
So
medical.
$3 million a year. This is solely held by the Caddo Parish taxpayer for sick people that are in pre-trial detainment at CCC, and we have to pay it. So we're paying $3 million a year for sick people that haven't gone in front of a judge every single year, and it's sad. Thank you.
Maybe you can get a nursing job over there. It sounds like it's needed.
No, I hope to never be in a position to where that's where I'm working, because I wouldn't be in charge.
I understand.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
I think the Mr. President beat me to saying congratulations on graduation the other day.
Oh,
So, Dr. Wilson, I'm going to piggyback on what Commissioner Lynn somewhat said. A lot of these are pretrial detainees. I just left Baton Rouge from a primary Louisiana Primary Care Association, and this conversation came up as a sidebar conversation. So I'll loop you in on additional discussion. One thing that I did learn was if prisoners are in a facility, in an outpatient facility, for 24 hours, they are then eligible to be picked up by Medicaid. And what we may want to look at is converting, or at least applying to have have a site over there where folks, when they come through it being processed, I don't know what the sheriff has, but whenever they're processed through, that they may be able to get a Medicaid application put through, because this is a cost that I see as excessive. And one of my issues, as I have stated before, is some of these are state inmates. And the way the state inmates work is these are folks who are coming in from New Orleans or St. Tammany or wherever they've been adjudicated from. And these are Caddo Parish taxpayer dollars that are going to foot the bill for people who are not even Caddo Parish residents for the healthcare costs. And I'm not pointing the finger at anyone on this. A quick correction. The federal government, this is not an issue for the federal government. We do need to work with our state delegation and probably LDH to promulgate, because they submit the Medicaid plan. They submit that to CMS, which is the federal government, and we need to get with them to see how because if you are a pretrial detainee, you have not been convicted of anything. Is that correct, Attorney Frazier?
That's correct.
So you're not guilty, but the way our state plan is set up is as long as you are detained, as long as you are in the custody of the parish or the city, your benefits are suspended. And so we do need to start putting the pressure, maybe not this now with the state budget issues, but as we talk about health care going forward, I don't see this as being something that we have to wait to the next legislative session. This is something that LDH can do as an amendment to the state plan soon to submit this to CMS. And I just want to encourage us, because this is something that we can look at toward a cost savings. $3 million is a lot of money. My other thing, is this a parish-wide millage, or where does this?
All the millers are parish-wide.
I'm saying, no, I know there are some that are paid just in North Caddo. Yes.
Yes, sir, it is.
So this coming out of CCC fund, and so it's a parish-wide millage?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And so my other thing as well is if we could at some point start looking at telemedicine as well. I understand telemedicine, because that helps get the transport costs down as well. I don't know if we're picking up that cost or if the sheriff is picking up that cost. Oh,
We are.
good Lord.
We have a contract with University Health to provide that, but we pay for it.
We pay for it. Okay, so if, again, that's something that if these individuals could receive Medicaid, their benefits, I'm just trying to make sure that we can look at ways to be fiscally efficient and conservative with the dollars that we do have, since we're still operating, as we just established, on 16-year-old millage rates. So anything that we can do, and I'll forward you the young man, he's with Access Health.
Okay.
I'll forward you his information, and maybe, Mr. President, we can set up a task force or something to look at this. I don't see it as something we'll do overnight, but I'm interested in it, and I think it's something that'll be a cost savings if we do it right to the parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From our discussion when this was in the work session, I thought it was said that if it was a pretrial detainee or someone that was already convicted, that they lost their Medicaid anyway, and so that this still applies to them as well.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, so as soon as you come in the facility, you lose those rights.
Right, as soon as you come to the facility, and as soon as you've been
Suspended,
convicted
not
as
lost.
well, as soon as you've been convicted as well, you still have lost your Medicaid. So, I mean, that goes different from what.
But
Commissioner-
once you're convicted, you fall under the state. The
Right.
state has the responsibility for paying those medical costs
But
at
they
that
got transferred
time.
out. They got
But you
transferred
go
out
to
of the
another parish
facilities.
now.
They got transferred out.
Well, some of them stay there, but
Yes,
is,
they do.
Donna, is that correct? I mean, once you're convicted, does the state pick up on this medical cost, or do we have to pay for those medical
Only state
costs?
facility.
Only if they're in a state facility. If they're still in our facility, we pay for that.
Okay, and some of them are there, I think.
Until they can be transported,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so that still, so even if we have someone that's convicted that's still in CCC, we're still paying for it?
Yes. Apparently so.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that people know that as well, not just the pretrial detainees, but also the ones that are also been convicted and still in CCC. That's my only point. Thank you.
Okay, and Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chair. John, I know when we were talking about this, I had asked if we could write a resolution to lobby our state delegation to try to push this forward, to urge them to get the state to take this on. Are you guys still working on that?
Yes, we can get that done.
Okay, cool. I'd like us to try to get the state to handle this. It'll save us some money. That's all, Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. President.
Yeah, I'm still.
That's what I was talking about, Commissioner Chavez, with
Right.
getting a sort of a task force. Yeah, there's a wealth of information. I think there's a sheriff's convention that's going on, either a prison and corrections convention going on next weekend, maybe of Royals Parish or somewhere, that this can be discussed. So, Mr.
You
President,
think we can
if
get
you
somebody down there to represent us?
I'd have to get the information to
Yeah,
you.
we've never been to the sheriff's convention before, but.
Yeah, I don't know if it's sheriff or
Yeah,
it's corrections, but Mr. President, if we could maybe talk about a task force or something to look at it. I
Sure.
think we got enough.
Obviously, we have to do something. My comments for Dr. Wilson, I said that because I was on the board. Some of the stuff Matthew said, you know, you said you can move them through the court system quicker. You know, that was something that we were tasked with several years ago that we have met with. I don't know if we have had any meetings lately, but the issue was that we had so many different entities such as the district attorney, the public defenders, the district court, probation and parole. I don't know who all I'm missing. The sheriff's office involved, that getting them onto one accord to move the pretrial detainees was an issue, but they did make complete efforts, including the clerk of court, to start making very considerable effort to move the pretrial detainees, especially those that had outstanding medical costs and medical issues, through the court system in a much more expeditiously manner. And that has helped tremendously, but obviously when you have someone that's got to be in, has to stay there for a certain time because there's probably a high crime rate and there's been some large medical costs, there's going to be some issues. The only thing that I would say is we need to continue to work with that task force or those different departments to make sure all that is going correctly. I know that there was an issue several years ago that someone basically had some heart issues and they were arrested for a minor offense, and the sheriff was able to contact the DA's office and they were able to get, let go. Otherwise, we were fixing to spend about $200,000 on this one guy. So there are issues that the sheriff and the DA and the courts are being made aware of on those issues. We just need to try to continue to work a little bit better, and that's all I have to say on that issue. Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a criminal justice committee, and they meet every so often.
Right.
The sheriff schedules meetings, and they are using a process called the rocket docket process.
Yes.
Where they look at expedited adjudication of people through the system. But, that they only have so much limited effectiveness, because you can't get everybody through that fast because there may be repeated offenders, and a lot of issues go into that. But they have done a good job in the past, but not solved the problem entirely.
Thank you. And Commissioner Middleton, you're on the board?
Yeah, real quickly, I'm sure this is the same problem in all 64 parishes.
That's correct.
I would assume that
That's correct.
Parish Jury, Police Jury Association has that on their agenda.
That's
I would
correct.
consider that to be a continuing agenda item. So
Yes, sir. National
developing
business.
other task force and all that, I understand.
It's a
what we're
national
doing.
item.
Thank you, that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, at this time, if I'm kind of off, I'm assuming we're still on ordinance number 5776 for final adoption. Please vote for that ordinance at this time. And that passes 10-1. Next item, Mr. Clark.
Ordinance number 5777, an ordinance to authorize the purchase of property located at 1356 Lawhon Street.
So moved.
Second.
That has been moved by Commissioner Gerald Bowman and seconded by Commissioner Mike Middleton.
Go by either.
What?
I go by either.
Yeah. Please vote.
Been called worse, I'm right.
And that item passes 11-0. Next item, please.
Next, we move to zoning ordinance for introduction, zoning case P918 in regards to ordinance number 5778. Amending the zoning of the property located approximately 725 feet west of Colonial Drive, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Rural Agriculture District to C4 Heavy Commercial District. Next, we move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5780, authorizing emergency aid to those who were affected by the April 2018 tornadoes. Next, we need to approve the minutes from May 13th.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn to ratify and approve the work session minutes of May
Mr. Chairman.
14, 2018.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Kim, I think, I thought on emergency ordinances, we could actually vote on those during the same week.
Um,
Good
Don-
question.
Or is that considered as an emergency
Still
ordinance?
has to be advertised, so doesn't
It, I don't think you can vote on it during the same week. I would have to look it up. But it would have to, Todd is correct that it would have to be advertised, that you were actually voting. So you can't vote on it today without
It's an
having a public
emergency.
hearing today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we're getting back to our work
So it's
session
an
minutes.
emergency.
That motion was made by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn, if I'm correct, to approve the minutes, work session minutes of May 14th. Can we please vote at this time? And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 37, expressing support for House Bill 885.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Matthew Lynn, and seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to withdraw resolution number 37.
Just wanted to make a quick comment. I was down in Baton Rouge yesterday again with LPCA, which is a Louisiana Primary Care Association. Separate and apart, wasn't there on any business for the commission, but I do want to say thank you to the North Louisiana delegation. Their cohesiveness and their unity yesterday was something that has not been seen in a long time. The bill failed 41-41. I want to say it may have been right around 8:30 p.m. And if you know how how the legislature works, they're usually out of there at whatever lobbyist or whatever organization is hosting them for the night, Randy. They're usually gone by 8:30.
Long gone.
So they were there hammering it out, and all of Northwest Louisiana and North Louisiana delegation, it basically came down to a situation of North, literally everything at Alexandria and up versus everything Opelousas and down, and we just could not outmuscle the South Louisiana delegation. And so I assume that it'll come back up. Nobody was in bad spirits about it. I think what the message was shown even in the bill was that there's a disparity even in the small rural hospitals, but particularly here in Shreveport. And I think our delegation came out confident that they can get some stuff done working together. So want to appreciate our delegation for working together on that. That's it, Mr.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please vote.
Just to be clear, Mr.
Oops.
Chairman, what are we voting on?
Okay, let me go back. This is concerning the motion that was made by Commissioner Matthew Lynn, seconded by Stephen Jackson. The motion was to withdraw from the floor the resolution number 37. Is that what it is?
38.
38.
Thank you.
37.
37?
Oh, excuse me, my bad, 37, thank you.
House Bill 85.
Okay, please vote.
We're voting to.
He's no. He's made a motion to withdraw it from the floor, so it'll just be taken off the floor. We're not.
So we don't vote then?
Yeah, he's making a motion to take it off of the, you're not gonna say table, but to remove it from the agenda, so we need to vote to approve his motion to remove this from the agenda.
Correct.
And then what you are, remove it
Yes,
from the
sir.
agenda? Okay, so that passes 12-0.
Resolution number 38 of 2018, a resolution to support the first judicial district.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'd like to speak on it.
Okay, Commissioner Lynn, you made that motion, you can speak on it?
This, when it was originally brought to me, and this, the way I see it today, is that this is not a commitment of any money, and this is not a placeholder for requesting money in the future. This is simply a letter of resolution of support for them to give to the federal government so that they can receive federal dollars in. This does not obligate the parish to anything, and my understanding of what was said Monday is completely the opposite of the telephone conversations that I have had with the person that brought this forward, which was not the person that came Monday. And so there was a disconnect, and I just want you to know, and if administration and legal or accounting can just back me up on this, this in no way, shape, or form commits the parish to any money. This just simply gives them a piece of paper that they have to have so that they can get their own money through some other source from the federal government to implement this program, which I think is a worthwhile program for Caddo Parish, which is the deferral program for military veterans. Thank you.
Okay, my concern on it is, and I wasn't here for the vote, but from the presentation that we had, it was very concerning because they seemed to be asking, yes, they wanted us to allow us to pass the resolution, and they were going to, I guess, administrate the grant. We were going to be a part of the grant. We were going to have to come up with funding. He did say he needed some funding and matching grant, and you had wholeheartedly said that this was something that we didn't need to do. And
That's correct.
I'm concerned about that resolution. No one had really spoken to Dr. Wilson ahead of time. I do know that whoever was here had sent an email and said they would like to sit down with you and speak further about this. But my concern is we pass this resolution, then they are going to come back and ask for money. And that was because that was my question. I was saying it says support, but then you're sitting here telling us you need money and help from us. So, you know, I have concern about it. And obviously, if they needed it, they could get the support or go through the district court and apply for it the way I understood it too.
Point of information, Mr. President, on Monday, there was an amendment to this resolution. And under now therefore be it resolved, it says this support is limited to non-financial support.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that that got put in there.
that was added on Monday.
Okay. Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, President. Thank you, Todd. I was going to ask, I thought I had made an amendment to add no financial obligation. Good to see it there. I want to get Dr. Wilson's opinion after they're done. Dr. Wilson, I wanted to ask your opinion on this. Of
sir.
course, I know you and I are for veterans, but I know we play politics a lot, and
Yes, sir.
people add other things. Are you in favor of this? Is this good for the parish?
Originally, when I spoke to the gentleman on Monday, they were asking for something a little bit different than what you see before you today. And I advise you all that that will not be a good move for us to apply for a grant and turn it over to somebody else. The current resolution says support only, no financials. And I did send another follow-up email on Tuesday, Commissioner Don, made a copy of you on the email as well, explaining our position that we in no way would ever concede to filling out a grant for someone else, turning over the management of that grant to a third party. And our record has been clear. We do not apply for grant for other NGOs that we do not have direct funding obligation to fund. So I made that quite clear on Tuesday as well as on Monday. The way this is written today, only it's innocuous. It says support only, but no funds. I'm okay with that because that does not direct me to do anything as administrator and filled out any grant. So as far as I'm concerned, this does nothing for that adversely affect the organization today.
So, I'm sorry.
I'm not done.
Yeah, but you're okay with this?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All
The
right.
way
Thank
it's
you for your
written-
advice.
the
That
way
was
it's- the
it.
way
Thank
it's
you,
written.
Chair.
Okay.
That was
I was,
all I wanted.
I was looking at something. So
Yes,
you're
sir.
okay with the
Yes, sir,
resolution?
the way it's written, yes.
Commissioner Atkins
Dr. Wilson just clarified the issue. Thank you.
and Commissioner Matthew Lanyard, did you speak?
I'd be satisfied.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson, did you speak?
No, I have not
Okay.
yet. I just wanted to be clear, Dr. Wilson, Attorney Fraser, because you said you were not, the resolution has not changed. The only thing that was added was no financial commitment, but it always has been written as, there was a misunderstanding. And I think we ought to be sort of clear, and I'm not debating, I think we ought to be clear, the resolution has always said just a resolution of support, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right, and I think some folks wanted to clear up or add some additional language, but it has always just said a non-binding, non-financial resolution of support, so I wanted to be clear on that. The district attorney office has expressed their support for this idea. Now, whether we get the funds or not, they obviously cannot apply for the grant because they are on the prosecution side of this. And so, but they would like to see a veterans court established in First Judicial Court. The issue, and Ted Cox has some additional information, but the Supreme Court does have something, but it is limited and subject to the dollars available to them from the legislature, which we know that's like betting on, me to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. So that's where I think the breakdown is coming. I think we should pass this resolution. We support veterans here. Our VA center serves all of this region. And so there's no reason why this is like a hub for veterans. And so I appreciate your openness on this. And hopefully we can facilitate getting them to someone who can help them fill this grant out and we not let the opportunity pass us by. Did you want to respond to something?
Yes, sir, I just want to tell you, I did provide them a copy of an application that they could use for the state Supreme Court. That is only 3 pages long.
Right.
And I explained to them who to contact.
Right.
So that is another avenue that they could pursue.
I agree, and as I said, Ted will tell you more that they're even cutting the Supreme Court budget, and so there's a possibility. I believe the Senate version of the bill now cuts the Supreme Court to the bare bones, and so with the state being in financial situation, we don't know what might come. Exactly, and so but. Appreciate you for getting them that information, all the information that they need, and hopefully I gave them some ideas about reaching out to some higher education institutions. But I don't want us to pick this thing here apart. It's just a simple resolution of support, and we ought to be on record as supporting our seniors. And thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Okay, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Call for the question because we have picked this apart.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by, was it seconded by?
Yes.
Oh, Gerald
Yes, sir.
Bowman.
That
Call
was
for
me.
the question. Calling for the question, please vote.
I look like Gerald now.
That's a compliment.
I look like Gerald now.
That's a compliment.
I look like
He
Gerald.
said it's a compliment. Gerald.
12-0, that passes. Were you talking to me, Steve? Did I say that? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, Gerald was raising his hand. That's what I was saying. He was raising his hand.
It's okay. I can at least take one out of the 20,000 that skipped me.
Okay, moving on to our next, excuse
Now you
me,
gotta vote.
moving on.
You
I
gotta
got it.
vote.
Okay, hang on. I caught myself. At this time, we need to vote for resolution number 38. Please vote.
Dr. Wu. Dimitri.
Okay, that passes 12-0. Now we're moving to our next item.
Resolution number 39, declaring May 22nd, 2018 as National Maritime Day.
Mr. Chairman, I would
Have
like
a
to make a
motion
motion
by
to
Commissioner-
englobo Resolution 39, Resolution 40,
Second.
Resolution 41,
Resolution 42 and adopt.
I have a motion by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson to englobo Resolution 39, Resolution 40, Resolution 41, and 42.
I'd like to just make one quick
Hang
comment
on.
on number 41.
Hang on, okay.
I don't
Got to
need
be
to-
recognized. Commissioner Middleton, I'm sorry.
Just on number 41, I mean, a lot of these, it's almost just rubber stamping things. I just want to point out that is National Peace Officers Week that we're talking about, and we're in the midst of that right now. I did go to the ceremony this morning. It was held by the headed up by the state police over at CenturyLink. It was a great ceremony, but again, I just want to make sure we pause for a moment that we're voting while we're voting on this particular one, because this is the week of it, and just wanted to bring that up.
That's
Thank you, Mr.
good.
President.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Please vote. And that passes 12-0. Next item.
I have no old business, move to new business. Reappoint Mr. David Winkler and Mr.
So moved.
Cotfield.
Got a motion by Commissioner Middleton
Second.
and seconded by Commissioner Stephen Jackson
Or Atkins.
to reappoint Mr. David Winkler and Mr. Kyle Deal to Fire District Number 5 Board. You can please vote at this time.
I just need motion in a second and sometime.
No, it's, I'm assuming it's not. And that passes 12-0. Next item.
Next is to confirm the removal of James Gavin from the Caddo Parish Sewage District Number 2 Board.
Move the confirmation to remove.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Mike Middleton.
No, that was me.
Excuse me.
We look
Thank
alike.
you.
Call it in.
Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Chavez to approve, this was the add-on, I had it, I can't find it right now, concerning the removal of Mr. James Gavin from the Caddo Parish Sewer District Board, okay? LB, do you need to speak on that? Commissioner Lynn?
Did Mr. Gavin pass away or resign?
No.
Okay. I was wondering because it seemed quick to pull someone off and put somebody back on a Thursday to add it onto the agenda, and I didn't know, did he do something
There
wrong?
were some circumstances that have happened over the last few days that needs this to happen as quick as possible.
The personnel matters, or did he get arrested?
No.
All right, thank you.
We'd be doing too much.
I have a point of, I guess, clarification to Donna. So we have the authority to remove the person. It doesn't have to be with some type of cause.
It doesn't have to be with cause for this particular board.
Okay, so for whatever reason, we can remove this person. And this was just the motion to remove him was put on, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Chavez?
Yeah, I just, there was a substantial reason that I don't think we should talk about in public.
Is it
it'd be the
criminal?
best for
Somebody
personnel
give us
just
something.
to remove it.
I would say that
This is
if
not the
you-
time.
If you trust my judgment on this, that you will vote yes.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff that's been going on that this person needs to be removed from a particular board. I don't think it should be hashed out openly like this, being that the person is not here today, but this needs to happen.
Okay. And Commissioner Jackson, do you need anything?
sir.
Okay. Let's please vote.
And I'll tell you why I'm abstaining.
LBJ.
Okay, that passes 9 with Commissioner Matthew Lynn abstaining. So we'll move to our next item at this time.
Okay, next we have the communicated committee reports.
I'd like to tell you why I abstained.
He needs to say why he abstained.
Okay. Commissioner Lynn, you're supposed to.
I abstained because I don't know anything about this person being removed, and I would hate to see a situation where we have people on boards where they would get in a disagreement with me, and then well, you're gonna get in a disagreement with me, I'm gonna stat you off that board. We don't have puppet boards, and I am I'm abstaining because I don't know any of the circumstance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. Moving on to communicates and committee reports. Commissioner Lewis Johnson, you're on the board.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a meeting in my district in Deer Creek on yesterday. There was a community concern. And in order to address the concern, I had to reach out to several other departments for their expertise. And they were gracious enough to join me in the meeting and to provide really valuable information. I was really thankful and impressed with their presence and their professionalism. So I want to thank them. And the group that accompanied me or that assisted me in the meeting on yesterday was Public Works, Mr. Robert Glass. I thank Robert for coming out. He was very prepared and able to address any concerns that we had. Also, MPC, Mr. Mark Sweeney sent out Mr. Alan Clark, and Mr. Clark came prepared and was able to assist me in that respect, as was the Sheriff's Department. So they all came and assisted me and thanked me, and I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank them for their assistance on yesterday. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis Johnson. Commissioner Michael Middleton.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know why I'm calling you Michael.
I don't know. I'm fine with it. My mama used to call me, but she's mad at me. Welcome, Mr. Clark, and Kelvin, thank you for doing the job you did. I'd like to meet with you too, and Dr. Wilson immediately following this for just a few minutes, if I may. And thank the President for assigning myself and Mr. Lewis Johnson to go to the meeting yesterday with Sheriff Prater, and there may be some misunderstanding about what has been said. Obviously, I did not commit X amount of dollars to it yet, and we made it understood that it had to come to the full commission before we could authorize any money. And so I just want to make sure that's understood. And it was a great meeting. It was 2 hours, and as Sheriff Prater says, it turned out to be a seminar rather than a meeting. And we got a lot of things ironed out, and I just look forward to, I commend Commissioner Jackson for bringing forth what he did the other day. It did help get some dialogue going, and I think that's where we're supposed to be going. I think Commissioners Gage Watts and LB, I think y'all be pleased with what was discussed, and it's moving forward. I don't think it's going to be stalemate. I think it's going to be moving forward as fast as it can be done. Any operation needs to, and essentially it's what was done over in the Middle East when General Petraeus said we need to increase our forces, and that's essentially what's going to happen here. It worked over there, and I think the sheriff and the chief and the mayor is good, and I think we're just standing by to help alleviate any cost it would be to the sheriff's budget, and I just think that's a fair thing to do, and I can't imagine any commissioner being against that. And I believe it, I'm quite certain it would be a dollar for dollar, whatever it costs the sheriff is what he's going to do. I doubt if he's going to charge us mileage at 51 cents, okay? So it's moved forward again. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you for being there, and I think it was a good meeting, and if he has any comments, I'm sure I asked him to give them right now. But thank you for trusting us to do that, and if you want the nuts and bolts of what happened inside of the meeting, I'll talk to you sidebar. Thank you.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was engaged in rereading the National Maritime Day resolution when the issue about Fire District 5 came up, and I didn't have a chance to second Commissioner Middleton's motion there, but I did want to, on the record, state my full support for both Mr. Winkler and Mr. Dill to be reappointed to that board. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins and Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we did have an NGO meeting. We did cover the grant application for NGOs and economic development. That was discussed today too. We'll have another meeting at a later date to go over the resolution. Since we kind of talked about it, but we really didn't get into the nuts and bolts of that. To the point of me having a disagreement with a board member and taking them off. I mean, I have disagreements every day, and I don't take people off boards. And I don't want to have any puppet boards. I have people that's working for the best interest of the area in which they're serving. This is a situation that's been spiraling out of control, and that's why I want to remove this person from the board. I also will be writing a letter to the Louisiana Legislative Auditors to do an investigative audit, ask them to do an investigative audit of that particular board and another board. So it's not just something that against me, it's something in the best interest of the Caddo Parish and the citizens of Lakeview area. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
I'm up.
You're up.
Wow, thank you. Happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
Mr. Travis, congratulations again. Looking forward to working with you in animal control. I do call a lot. I have a lot of constituents who have calls and complaints, and Mr. Kelvin has been taking real good care of them, so I'm looking forward to continuing to work with him and working with you as well. Commissioner Johnson, your response today was informed and very professional. You know, I won't give you the usual today. I'll just say that my work speaks for itself in Moortown, and some things for me requires no response. Next, I am grateful that a conversation has been started, Commissioner Middleton, about the crime and the homicides in our area, and I'm glad for whomever was at the table, because this is about the people for me, and I just believe that the people deserve to see justice served and us working towards improvement, because that's where the biggest room is room for improvement. I would like to say congratulations to the Veteran Celebration Committee, if you're watching, who was awarded the 2018 Tourism Partner Award at the Pride Awards on Thursday, May 10th. At Samstown, Mr. Ken Epperson, along with myself and several other citizens of Caddo Parish, were presented that award. So we're very proud of that. Kelvin, I want to personally thank you for taking care of those constituents' complaints with the bulldogs, pit bulls that they were having, and they called to say thank you, that you moved expeditiously in their concerns. And also the lady who called about her having a huge rodent problem. She wanted to give accolades to CPCRS for you all coming out in such a timely manner and taking care of their problem that she had for quite some time. She was grateful for whoever gave her my number to tell me this is who you need to call if you need to get something done. So thank you. Mr. Lucky.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we get any response from the city about those cameras?
I have not gotten an email response back yet, no ma'am.
Okay. Please keep me posted. I know you will as soon as you get something to give to me in writing, and we'll be able to share with the other commissioners as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, the preliminaries for the Miss USA are tonight at Hirsch Coliseum at 7 p.m. As you already have been invited down by Miss Odom, I want to make sure that everyone comes out and support our own Miss Louisiana. And we're wearing our pins. All my colleagues have on their pins or necklaces in support of her, so we hope that you will come down and show your support tonight at the Hirsch Coliseum. Morning Star Baptist Church invites you to their 8 and 11 a.m. services for worship and honoring of their pastor, Dr. Theron Jackson, at the 8 and 11 a.m. services on this Sunday. On Thursday, May 24th at 9 a.m., there will be flags placed at the grave sites at the Northwest Louisiana Veterans Cemetery at 9 a.m. And on Monday, May 28th at 11 a.m., there will be a memorial program at the Northwest Louisiana Veterans Cemetery. On May 27th, the Sickle Cell Awareness Motorcycle Ride will be held, and for more information, you may contact Trina Bridgewater at 318-636-5300. Is Mr. Glass? You're here. Hi, friend. Can you please give me an update on some city construction? I've been getting a lot of phone calls about things still undone in front of their homes, driveways, muddy areas. They just want to get an update. Is that permanent? Is that how it's going to be left? Is anybody coming back? Because they're seeing things taken away and nothing has been done to their streets in front of their homes. So if you would you give me an update on that? Dr. Wilson, have you seen the award from Southern University Shreveport for their 50th year gala?
No, ma'am.
You have not seen it? Well, the Caddo Parish Commission was awarded and honored at the 50th year gala also. So congratulations to the Parish of Caddo for that award. And that's it.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes. President Dominic and Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn, The administration is requesting that we have a finance committee meeting on May 30th.
Who is?
The administration.
Okay.
The folks that were selected to do the audit, the internal audit, they will be here on May 30th. And we're requesting a meeting at 2 o'clock so you can meet them and provide any communications with them you'd like. So they are going to be here to kind of discuss the rollout, what they're going to be doing, beginning with their risk assessment plan. That's the next step in the process. So if you can call that meeting, we appreciate that meeting with you all.
Okay.
So that's all I have, sir.
Commissioner Matthew Lynn, have you?
Yes.
You haven't spoken yet, have you?
No.
Okay.
Since October of last year, I've had the fortunate circumstance of being able to work with Mr. Kelvin Samuel in Animal Services, and I think that pretty much every single pet advocate lives in District 4. It seems that way. And I really appreciate the relationship that he and I were able to put together, and he was the most professional person I had worked with, and he borderline rivaled Matt Pepper, and I really appreciate, I mean, I guess number one, his genius in not taking the hot spot role on a permanent basis, because he's a smart man, because there is a lot of pressure in that number one seat. But a lot of the projects that have been brought forward, he has taken them on with vigor and brought himself up to speed, and Caddo Parish is very fortunate to have him on our team, and I look at the director and assistant director, as a dynamic duo, and when I call to speak to one, I'm very comfortable not waiting to speak to Mr. Clark. I'm very comfortable speaking with Mr. Samuel because I know that he is competent in what he does, and I appreciate both of them taking on this role, and I look forward to them working closely together to bring Caddo Parish to a speed that is comparable to the best animal services department in the United States. When I first became a commissioner, our juvenile services needed a lot of help. We adopted programs, and we were very fortunate to have Clay Walker take over, and he was given all of the tools, even through some of the voting mechanisms that we do on the commission body, putting a cap on the juveniles held within the facility. And I look forward to both of you gentlemen, that if you need anything, that you know that come to the commission. If you need $50,000 for something and your budget doesn't allow it, I beg you to come to us for us to put it on the budget, to give you the tools that you need to be successful in your venture to making Caddo Parish Animal Services known throughout the nation for the quality care that we give our pets and we serve our citizens, as we have been now recognized for juvenile services. And we are the turnaround king, and we've proven that we can be the turnaround king. And I look forward to assisting you, and I expect you to be the turnaround king with animal services. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Matthew Lynn. And Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you, Mr. President. Want to start my comments by thanking the sheriff for coordinating the meeting, and on yesterday I wasn't able to attend. He reached out via a personal invite and a letter to extend that invitation. The letter went to my spam email, but I believe I did forward that letter on in order to get it to the appropriate persons. So long as something is being done, I still will encourage us to be actively pursuing and looking for a long-term plan. I believe that we need to be looking at issues that address 1, policy, 2, policing, and 3, poverty. And that is one of the issues that we're seeing, is the issue of poverty and its crippling effect on our community. I came this week with an idea. The measure was, I believe Commissioner Dominic asked me, could we send it to committee, and I didn't have a problem with that. We didn't introduce it. I didn't have a problem with that either. And so we're elected to legislate. As legislators, our job is to legislate. Facebook statuses don't get it done. Photo ops don't get the job done. Our job is to legislate. The idea that someone would use this as political posturing, you have to be looking for something, or you have to be without something to posture. We are duly elected officials. 4 of those incidents took place in District 3. And so when something happens in District 3, my phone is ringing just as if something is happening in District 4 or something is happening in District 2 or District 12. Your phones will ring. And so our constituents depend on us to collectively work together to solve problems that face our district and our parish as a whole. And so I just want to make sure that we understand that when people bring stuff to the table, it's not posturing. I'm not the one who has a campaign consulting contract anywhere. I come here with the hearts and minds of my citizens, my constituents who elected me, the folks who I went, knocked on their doors and told them that we would be down here working for the best interest of them. Those are the folks who we come down here to represent. And I think we should do a great service to them while we are here, and not get bogged down in certain minutia. And so I'm glad the conversation is taking place. I look forward to, again, continuing a long-term solution. I think the initiative that's going on now with the increased enforcement, we've seen that it goes for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then it fades away, and then we go back to business as usual. We have to start having a conversation about long-term solutions to solve these problems. And it's a combination of things. There's no one silver bullet, and there's no quick fix. And I think I've been saying that at least since I've been here since 2016. And so I'm thankful that everybody's at least at the table. Look forward to having more voices. The more people that are at the table, the more ideas you have, the more consensus you can build. And so that's where I think our focus needs to be, is getting everybody on one accord. And I want to thank the sheriff for taking the lead on that. Also want to also recognize that Shreveport, Caddo Parish specifically, District 3, the Allendale-Ledbetter area is now a finalist for the Choice Neighborhoods Award. This is a upward of $13 million grant that this area can receive. We are one of 6 finalists. I believe 4 or 5 of those awards will be awarded, and we are in the top 6. And so this has been something that's been 10 years in the making. And what Choice Neighborhood focuses on, again, is it focuses on people, it focuses on infrastructure, it focuses on housing. There are several different layers to Choice Neighborhood. And so hopefully there's an opportunity for to land that grant. There, at that meeting, what I did learn was there were individuals who had heard about our housing trust fund. And one of the guys who didn't even know me came up, or I didn't know him, he came up and asked me who I was, and he had heard about our housing trust fund. And his thing was, some cities and states put together, or counties put together a housing trust fund, and it goes years without identifying a funding source or ever being funded. So we are just that far along, far ahead and progressive than other cities, counties, and states who have taken on that initiative. One of the guys pointed out that there's an initiative in the Choice Neighborhoods project or development, and it gave me a very good level of comfort when he said, because I was sort of feeling bad because we didn't make it a grant, we made it a loan, a revolving loan. He said that's okay, because developers, when they're looking to do these developments, they have to pay taxes on the grant, and they prefer it to be a loan. And so what I want us to understand is the things that we're doing down here, even though they're complex, sometimes they're controversial, sometimes we're on different sides of it. There are people out there who have ideas, legitimate ideas that can fit within this Choice Neighborhood or any other idea that you see as long as we're working to make it work. And so I want to applaud the commission again for being progressive and taking on that initiative. And I look forward to getting with Henry and Donna so we can start at least looking at how we can, the next phase, because there's some more steps to the Housing Trust Fund that we need to take. Also want to ask if we could get an executive session soon on where we are to give everybody a status update on one CPCRS and the other one is the Confederate Monument. We can either do it at the work session or regular session, but would like for us to do some type of status update. Thank you, Mr. President.
Vice President Cawthorn?
Okay, very briefly, I want to applaud the commission for how quick we came together as it relates to putting together the funding for the pageantry for here in the city of Shreveport. We don't oftentimes in this local community afford the opportunity of having a national spotlight, but you will see as a result of this the spotlight that we're going to receive in the city of Shreveport and how we can build upon things like that. So as a body, I'm very impressed with the fact that we came together so quickly to get that done. Secondly, I know Mr. Clark has been applauded several times today, but I just wanted to echo congratulating him. And you often hear the term, go west, young man, go west. And when they leave Shreveport and go west, they never come back. And so the fact that you come back to contribute to this local community, that says a lot about you. It says a lot about your commitment to this local community. Because I know everybody sitting around this horseshoe would say, who in their right mind would want that job anyway? But we want to applaud you for coming back. We want to applaud you for taking up the mantle to work with CPCRS. And if you need any ointment, anything to assist you with your the bumps and bruises, the man sitting to the left of you, he's very equipped to do such. And on the way out, we want to give applaud Kevin Sanders for the work he's done. And he's been a slug and a fighter in that position. And he also deserves a round of applause for the work he's done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And moving to our next item. One thing, Commissioner Mike Middleton wanted me to, he forgot one thing, that on May 24th at 10 o'clock a.m. at the Caddo Parish Courthouse, there's going to be a memorial service. Is that correct?
Yes, it's going to be we'll call it a pre-Memorial Day service. It'll allow the people, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, 10 a.m., Texas Street side of the courthouse, less than 30-minute program, and it's to give the people in downtown area that may have other plans, even though those of us that are veterans think Memorial Day should be your plan, but we would just give them an opportunity to come down and participate in a Memorial Day ceremony, pre-Memorial Day ceremony, and so maybe that'll make them feel better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's see, moving to our next item.
We have citizen comments, late arrivals.
I have one. We have one. Do you have any more?
No, sir.
Demetrius Norman? Demarius? Demetrius? Norman. How you doing, sir?
Everyone.
You got 3 minutes.
I don't need the whole 3.
Appreciate it.
Demetrius Norman, once again representing Queensboro Progressive Citizens, the neighborhood association serving the Queensboro community. During the time we, as citizens, been taking upon ourselves to help some of our uninsured homeowners, even some people in some of our rental units that are not receiving help, remove trees from their property and tarp off the homes for damage that they have, is come to my attention that there are some resources that we have to assist with this type of matter. I believe Commissioner Johnson mentioned it earlier, that we have some type of emergency assistance, but we're about a month out. So I understand these things take time, and there are things that wheels that have to turn in the background so that these resources can be released. But I mean, I'm getting all kind of calls on my job every day. People are still in distress. We got about 5-6 people still have power out. You know, that we're having to get contracts to try to provide in-kind services. Ms. Joyce home on Frederick Street, we were able to get her power turned on with an electrician that was able to provide us in-kind service, and we just covered the material through fundraising. But definitely, if we already have some type of resource like this, I've heard a couple of commissioners, I've seen a couple commissioners actually out there from day one after the storm, saying that we need resources, we need to be as responsive to this community as we've been with other communities. And, you know, like we talk about things like crime, we're very reactive when it comes to stuff like crime. We don't see the neglect in situations like these that lead to financial hardships, that lead to hopelessness, that turn people that otherwise may just be law-abiding citizens working on a job into criminal. And so, you know, I'm hoping that we'll start to become a little bit more responsive and have a little bit more sense of urgency, because we've had a national disaster in one of our communities. And I can't tell you how many leaders in our community I had to reach out to. If Commissioner Jackson didn't put the pictures on Facebook, we didn't put pictures on Facebook, a lot of people never even drive through that community, didn't even realize how bad the community was damaged. So you have to think how disconnected we are. Just in the city, it's only ain't even 200,000 people. And we don't know about several properties damaged and torn up. We got veterans, people staying in hotels for the past month with little to no assistance, crying, wondering what they're gonna do. So I would like to hear that verbalized a little bit more. I know we're reactive when crime happens because it's instantaneous and it's more provocative, but you know, we have to start looking at the things that lead to our crime situation. And we need to be reactive to that before we have a rash of crime breaking out through the city. Because we got people that feel like they have leadership that doesn't care, and that's their reaction, is to act crazy the way they're doing. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. You were talking about because of the tornado and the damage there, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
the tornado and the lack of.
In 2 weeks from now, we're going to be talking about that ordinance, emergency ordinance. So appreciate you coming here today. Hopefully we'll vote on it then, okay?
Okay, definitely. I want to hear a lot more communication about it, because that area votes just like every other area of town
Sure.
votes. And I heard somebody say we put a lot more focus on animals and a whole lot of other topics. And, you know, you have a disaster happens and you have a whole lot of people within Caddo and within that area that they're wondering, did they even exist to local leadership? So I know there's a lot of work going on. I've seen it, and I've seen the people working. But constituents need to see everybody and feel everybody involved, not just when somebody gets shot, but when situations are causing people to be broke, so that they
So
will.
move to extend.
Okay.
Second.
Are you done?
That's all I got. I just
Okay.
want to see and feel, and I want to see a lot more attention.
Okay,
That's
thank you
all.
very much. Thank you for coming today. Okay, we're at the end of our meeting.
Second.
I have a couple commissioners that want to say something.
Yeah, just something real quick. Mr. Chairman, I would ask, as a request from Representative District 2, that we have a special call meeting next week to address ordinance number 5780, dealing with the funding of, being able to assess the funding for the tornado victims in the Queensboro area and Lakeside area and Allendale area.
Okay.
It was, that ordinance was advertised today. The public hearing is set for 2 weeks from today, or actually 3 weeks from today. So we can't
Because
change
we're
it
not gonna
as an emergency ordinance, and we can't. You've got to give at least a certain amount of time before you have your public hearing. So I guess we should check in the morning and see if we could.
We can actually we can do a public notice beginning of the week, and then once it's done, then we can have our meeting.
I'll
Can
let you know.
Can
how
y'all
much
check
time-
onto that and get with
how much
Commissioner
time we
Johnson,
need.
and then let me know what we got to do to, I'll be happy to do what I have to do to call a special meeting if y'all can get that worked out. And I will work with Commissioner Johnson to get that done. Is that okay, LB?
Appreciate it, Chairman.
Okay. You know, we're done. We're really not, but Commissioner Jackson, I'll let you talk. Guys, we're supposed to talk during communications and committee reports.
Remember, the
So-
preliminary start at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So-
Call for adjournment. You got anything?
You, never mind.
Mario, you got anything? All right, we'll give me adjourn. Hey, you got a minute?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.